So the thing is, we are here to finally understand what the UX designer actually does. All of you have this doubt. What does a real UX designer do? What do they do in these real companies? Now that's going to be answered over here. The profession which I am into, or most of you, what all of you are aiming into, is digital product user experience design. You are doing very similar things, but not for people to have these experiences in the physical world. Yes, definitely physical world as well, but connected to a digital experience. Either through a product which is either an app or a website, there needs to be a digital interface which is actually giving you this experience. Why do we restrict ourselves to that? Only the app interfaces or desktop interfaces or SaaS products? Why not ATM machines? The answer is very simple. There is so much money here. Simple answer. I gave you a hint, right? You can make money designing for a restaurant. You can do anything, right? But there's a lot of money here. Okay, you're like, oh, Anudip, you're telling that we're all money-minded? Yes, we are money-minded, right? It doesn't become wrong. Why? Because the good part is there's a lot of scale which can come with digital experiences. Your restaurant is for a bunch of people, but you make an app like Swiggy, millions of users, potentially billions of users can actually use Swiggy. So it can impact a huge number of lives. Obviously, that is the reason why there is a huge amount of money as well. And that is the reason why the industry needs very good designers as well, because of the huge impact this can bring. And that's why we scope it down to the digital experiences and we picked it up as a profession. So the question over here is, how is it that this experience can come alive in digital products? So let's quickly understand this using a diagram. So if you think of it, there is this user. On the other hand, there is this thing called the product. Now the user and the product are actually communicating. The user, we can also call it as human. And what is this product? Digital product being offered by what? Computers. The user and product, what are they doing? They are interacting. The communication between both of them is actually called as interaction. Ever heard this term? You've heard, no? HCI. That's exactly what we are diving into. Obviously, HCI is a very big field because it deals with all types of computers, all types of ways in which humans can interact with the computer. Literally your ATM machine as well, your remote as well. Remote is also a computer, correct? In this way, you can debate that, but anyway, as long as there is some computation involved, it is a computer, correct? So humans interacting with any kind of computer is covered in HCI, very fundamentally. But we are very selfish. We will pick only those computers which will make us money as UX designers. Now, so there is a user, there is a product, and between them, there is a communication which is particularly happening, which is called as interaction. Let me summarize what we do. If only you can understand the user, if only you understand the product, and if only you can understand how is it that you facilitate the communication between the user and product, your job is done. Agree? That's exactly what we're going to take forward. So how do we basically understand user? I'm giving you an outline over here. There is a lot about this. I'm just giving you an outline about how do we understand a user. If you say there are few things which characterize a particular user, what would they be? So users will basically have goals. That's what they have. In other words, we can call it as aspirations. Do you agree? Users have aspirations. They have goals. There are other words, needs, wants. What is the difference between needs and wants? Find out, do homework and come back. Okay. So user has all these things. What else was a part of the previous example, which was a property of the user? Yes, emotions. Correct? So user has these goals, aspirations, needs, wants, emotions. This is how you understand a human. If I say understand that particular human, you will say, yes, if at all I understand their goals, what are the thinking in general, what are the emotions they will have. If I know about all these things, I understand that particular human. Correct? That's why from next time when someone asks you, hey, what do you mean by understanding users? Don't simply say research. Research is just a way for you to understand these things which are sitting over here. And let me give you a big twist. So let me tell you this story. Okay. So let's look at Manu. So Manu is someone who is trying to go to a music concert. Manu ran out of her house holding a concert ticket, feeling very happy. Finally, I'm going today. She was sitting in a cab in traffic. She's looking at the car. She's very angry. She's checking the GPS signal and like, when am I going to reach? And then finally, she actually came to the show and she's clapping loudly and very happy. And then suddenly there is a music glitch and she's frustrated. But then what happened is, once the concert is over, she went backstage and she was actually trying to get an autograph of that artist whom she wanted. She's anticipating that. And when she actually got an autograph from this musician, she is so happy, like excited. That's the lifetime moment for her. So she's very happy. So this is the story of Manu, who has gone to a music concert. Nice, no? You've had similar experiences yourself? And let me give you a big twist. Just now when I told you the story of Manu, yourself also could experience this particular emotion when I'm talking about it. You related to it, correct? You related to what is her aspiration. You related to the goal. You are also able to think about it, right? Did you do research when I told you the story? Anudeep, let me actually find out whether people actually want to go to the concert or not. You didn't do all that. You could guess it from your own experience because you're a human. You can do it. You can understand another human. The twist is simple. Even without research, humans can understand other humans. Wow. And you guys, what is it called?
Psychology.
Yes. Empathy. This is very important. Empathy comes first. Methods to empathize users and empathize them better comes next. So don't block your mind thinking that at every stage without research, I'll not go forward. My company is not doing research, therefore it is not doing UX design. No, your company has hired you who can actually go and understand another human and tell the user's point of view to the company. So it's enough. If it is required, you will do research. If it's not required, you will not do research. Nice? Makes sense? Very good. Let's go backwards. Now, since you need to understand all these things about a user, does it make sense to actually write all these things down for a potential user? Would it be nice to actually go and write down so that you can have active memory of it? It will make sense to go and actually have some goals, needs, emotions, all these things. If you write down their situations and all that stuff, it'll help you out so that you can plan things better. When I spoke about planning the journey, your first question will be, who, Manadeep? What are they doing? What are their goals? What is their comfort level? Are they even comfortable in a train? Are they not comfortable in a train? Are they elders? Are they kids? Who are they? It makes sense to write down about all these things before you actually go and do something for a product. That writing thing down is called as, tell your experts.
Persona.
Persona, correct?
Persona.
Beautiful, no? Common thing. How many of you feel first time you understood what a persona is? Until now, you'll have heard hundreds of times persona. You just wanted to run 100 kilometers from it. I want to understand who this person is. Why? Because I care about designing an experience, not utilitarian needs are enough also there. I care about their emotions. Therefore, I want to understand who this person is. And as a human, I can understand another person. Only as a human, I can understand another human. Right? Since I can do that, let me write it down in one place. Simple. That's why when someone asks you to create a persona, you do not have to go to a persona template. You don't have to. You simply want to write about them in such a way that you keep that in your mind while you're going and designing the product. Whatever helps you to write about them, go write it. Let's say you want to make Manu's experience better. What will you write about her? Will you say, hey, first I'll go to the internet, then I will download a persona template and fill that particular persona template to understand Manu. I will for some time become a non-human and fill a template when I have a natural skill of understanding other humans naturally. Let us say you have to design the entire experience of that particular concert. What would you write an approximation of who are the kind of people who will come? You'll say, hey, probably around a bunch of 20-year-olds will come, adults will come. They're generally fans of this particular musician. They'll probably have these kind of clothing. They're usually a bunch of students. They're generally very active. They will want to dance. They're okay standing. You'll understand, you'll write about all these things, right? So that's whom you have actually designed it for. You got it, no? Makes sense?
Yes.
So that's it, simple. A simple documentation of whom are you planning the journey for? That is a persona. All of your experts in planning your journeys, simple, write it down, you become a persona expert. So for understanding user, we understood that we have to write down what we can understand them better if you understand their goals, aspirations and all, and we can write it down and we can name it as a persona. Simple, common sense. We understood. Now, let's go towards the product side. When I talk about a product, tell me one thing. Does the product by itself have any emotions? No, a product is basically a bunch of materials only, or a bunch of elements. If you're standing on the dance floor or concert floor, the floor is just a bunch of materials. You're getting a cab is a bunch of materials. Correct? So frankly speaking, on the product side, all you have is the elements of the product. There are a bunch of elements which are assembled together by some human or by a machine, whatever. Even a digital product is a bunch of elements. If you look at a screen, what is it? It's a bunch of elements which have been assembled or arranged in a particular manner that it is making sense to you. Let's not even go to services. I'll come there. It's just a bunch of elements which have been arranged together. Just understand the product in that particular manner. The product is not having the emotion. The user is having the emotion. But the product, on the other hand, is just a bunch of elements arranged together. I want you to understand this. A bunch of elements arranged together, we are going to call it as a feature. A bunch of screens together, a bunch of buttons together, all these things combined together is basically a feature or a bunch of features. Your product is nothing but a bunch of elements organized together in a certain manner is called features. That's what your product has. Agree, all of you? For us to understand the product, we don't have to understand anything else, no? Simply all you have to do is understand this only. Now comes the part where we do the design. I'll talk about it. I'm oversimplifying a product because, yes, all the complications are there in designing the product only. But I'm oversimplifying product because product is that's it only. It is a bunch of elements only. It is nothing else, frankly speaking. The moment you understand this, you'll understand your job as a designer. Now, let me tell you one thing. Let's say you go and look at a screen. Okay. Indra, right ledo. Okay. Let's say you're going and looking at a screen. Okay. Okay. This looks like an angry face, but yeah. Looking at this, so ironical to what I just said. The product doesn't have emotion and it is showing an emotion here. But anyway. Okay. Now, if you're looking at this particular screen, you can see that all it has is a bunch of elements and stuff like that. Now, you just talk about it, let us say like a button, let's say an image, and let's say some boxes, let us say some text, whatever is there, all these headings and all are there. This is what a screen has. These are the elements a screen has. Agree? All of you, by common sense, you know this. Correct? You've seen hundreds of screens. Now tell me one thing. Aren't there thousands of ways to arrange these? Do you agree? Out of these 1,000 ways, there might be some 50 ways to meaningfully arrange all these things. Now you'll agree for 1,000, right? I said 1,000 ways of meaninglessly arranging them, just dropping them wherever you want. Correct? The thousands of ways of meaninglessly arranging, and probably some 50 ways you can imagine to arrange it meaningfully.
Yes.
Okay, please pardon my handwriting. That means, if you think of it, a product has a bunch of elements and features, and these elements can be organized in thousands of ways. But because I care about this particular user, I want to arrange these things in a meaningful manner. That's what your job is. Do you agree that the job of a designer is to arrange these elements of a product in a most meaningful manner so that the user over here can have the best experience? That's what your goal is. Very simple. As a designer, if I have to tell you what is your goal, my goal is very simple, Anudeep. I need to go and understand the user first. If I understand the user as a human, I will be in that empathize stage of that particular user. And then what will I do? I will go and arrange the elements or features of a product in such a way that it is a meaningful arrangement so that I think this particular user can have the best experience. What does the best experience mean? Journey, yes. Plus emotions. Very important, emotions. That the user has very great emotions. Only then you can call that the product has given a great experience. So now look at this. That is why it becomes your job as a designer becomes very, very important, guys. Let me bring an AI angle also. See, you can use an AI tool as well. All a computer is trying to do is give you a better way to do permutation combinations of these 50s or hundreds of ways of going and arranging a screen in a meaningful manner. That's what a computer is trying to do. But as a human, you need to take a decision what makes sense for the best experience of another human. Because a computer cannot understand emotions. A computer can write down about emotions, can hint you about the emotions, but it cannot feel the emotions. You as a human can feel the emotions. Therefore, you need to take that particular decision. Taking the help of a computer or an AI, which is giving you these bunch of options which might work. All you're doing with AI is leaving the computation to it, but the decision you are making. I will make the computer do the hard work, but I will make the decisions. Beautifully, I'm summarizing the job of UX designer over here. All you're doing is basically deciding how to arrange a bunch of features or elements on a product so that it comes as a meaningful combination in such a way that this user can have a great experience. Correct? And then how does this happen? How does this happen? The user is there, the product is there. As long as they are not talking to each other, it won't happen. They can't have a great experience. And that's where we get into understanding of interactions. Got it? That means what? How is the user actually going and using these bunch of elements? If there is a button could have just been some circle or some random shape. Why is that button actually looking in that particular manner that a user feels like, oh, probably. Why does the user feel that? Because the button is looking like that. You're designing that button in such a way that the user now understands that they can actually tap on it. What is that tapping? Interaction. So, in summary, if at all you need to be a very good UX designer, you need to understand users and what gives them very great journey and an experience. That means their emotions. So, as a designer, what to do? Okay, you understand the user, not just understand, you empathize. Empathize the user. Okay, arrange elements in a product, and between both of them, you design for their interactions. This is what you do as a designer. Now, let me add one more layer to it, which you already came prepared with. Now, tell me one thing, guys. What is this product actually trying to do? Why are these bunch of elements making sense to the user who is having that particular goal? What is the product actually offering?
Services.
It's offering a service. That means, okay, the good part is we have clues in which we can actually make these arrangements in a meaningful manner. You might ask, arranging elements in a product. How do I do it, Anudeep? How do I do this? What is the clue? The clue is very simple. The user has a goal. For that goal, what can fulfill that goal? A service has to fulfill that goal. As long as I understand the service very well, I can go and arrange it in such a manner that it will make sense to the user and I can avail their service. On top of it, I'll arrange it so well that they'll not only avail the service, but have an amazing experience availing that particular service. Got it? So, how do we arrange elements? The clue is the way the service needs to be provided for their goals. And because as a designer, do you agree that to do any of this, you are making decisions? You're making decisions. Look at it. You're making a decision about what is the user goal, what is the service, how much of the service should I actually cater to, what are the interactions, which kind of interaction should I even give over here? Should be touch, tap, swipe? What are the elements? Which arrangement of the element which makes more sense? What are the kinds of emotions? These kind of users, those kind of users, what are they trying to do? You are making decisions everywhere. What is the phenomena of making decisions called? Let's see how attentive you are. Design. Right? Simple. The reason it is called as design field is because you're making all these decisions, right? You understood this particular user, and what are you doing? You're providing them experience. And to do this, you're taking decisions. What are those decisions called as?
Right.
Adi macha. Okay. This is the heart of user experience design, UX design. Beautiful. Yeah.